Hi everyone, hope you are having a wonderful day. This is Tony. I'm here at the Bio Creation Conference in Cape Town, South Africa. And at this conference, we have various people from all walks of life. Here I have one of our participants with us. So tell us about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Mr Kolawole and I'm from Nigeria and Redeemers University. I'm also affiliated with a training institute, bioinformatics training institute called BAO. And what we do is to train people from life sciences from low and middle income countries. And we've done a project, particularly from undergraduate students, and that's what we're here to present.
Okay, so you obviously do a lot of training. Tell us, what type of background do you have? Is it more scientific? Is it biology? Is it more computer based?
Okay, so I have a mixed because I did my undergraduate in wet lab, but after my undergraduate I fell in love with bioinformatics, so
Okay.
I proceeded with dry lab, which is currently what I'm doing my master's in bioinformatics, and my work activities evolves around curation of data that I'm going to use for my project.
Okay, so you obviously started from a biology background.
Yes.
And essentially you are transitioning into a more computational field,
Yes.
which is coding,
Yes.
programming, that type of work, which is very different,
Yeah.
and I'm assuming very nuanced to what you're used to.
Yeah.
So tell us about some of your challenges. I know you probably work with a lot of data. What type of problems do you deal with?
Okay, first is the challenge of finding data, especially for African population, because I remember there was a time we wanted to work on pancreatic cancer for African population, and it was so difficult finding enough data set to work around, and I think that's even the ones we find are scattered from the one database to the other. And I think that's where bank creation comes in. Uh, there is there have been databases that's trying, like AfriGenD, that's trying to do something like that. So if you can have more of these databases that work on metabolomics, proteomics, collate African data together, and that's what we are trying to achieve for my own project, my student club project that I'm coming to present. What we did was to collate phytochemicals from known African medicinal plants, and I think we plan to use that for large-scale molecular docking for drug discovery.
Okay, I see. So, Africa is still surrounded by many third world countries.
Yes.
So we struggle with infrastructure, we struggle
Yeah.
with resources, and obviously, as you mentioned, there is a lack of skill set. So we don't have enough sample size, we don't have
Yes.
enough data or proper database structure.
Yeah.
And obviously the goal of this conference is for all the experts to come together and obviously discuss what is needed, how to build up that foundation for everybody to have shared and accessible resources across the African
Yes.
continent.
Yes.
And then from your own perspective, you do a lot of training. What are some of the challenges that, people face and other people tell you during your trainings?
Okay, I think one thing is the infrastructure that you mentioned, and some of the things that are basic in the European world, such like data, internet connectivity, light, and even some of students, especially, complain about the capacity of their laptops because
You can't run Nextflow.
they can run
It's
Nextflow. They can it gets stuck every time.
There's not enough space.
So there's not enough space. So
Yeah.
these are the basic things that are needed to get started and to even drive basic working groups in research institution. And this is not even peculiar to students, even some of the lecturers, because it's like a nationwide thing. Some of the lecturers do struggle with some of these things, not especially funding. It's not everyone that have access to these facilities.
Yeah,
so
certainly.
if we can handle the basic infrastructure from African perspective, I think it will go a lot way to help.
Okay. So, as you mentioned, pretty much you said it all right. The first world countries like America, like Europe, they have had years of head start before us.
Yeah.
And now when Africa wants to do the catch up, there's a lot to follow. But in addition to that, there's also a lot of poverty and disease already exist in Africa. So it's very difficult for us to have, that start trying to catch up, but also you're burdened by, these legacy issues. And then you mentioned you are from Nigeria.
Yeah.
And obviously coming to South Africa, there's quite a lot of difference.
Yeah.
And I imagine the training that you do will all be around other Africa countries as well. So what type of, culture difference, what type of like academia difference do you see during your trainings? And what do you see like students complaining in addition to, not having laptops? Is it language barriers? Is it, samples? Is it they're working on different pathogens? There's viral, there's bacterial, things like that.
One of it is difference in, can I call it passion or what they're interested in?
Yeah.
Because we have so much wide area in bioinformatics, and so some people will say I'm interested in AI and genomics. Some people will say I'm interested in malaria research. So I think it's kind of
a broad field.
Yeah, a broad field.
You can't cover everything.
Yeah, we can't cover everything. So it's sometimes what we do is to narrow down a particular training to just particular field, let's say pathogen genomics or cancer genomics, and
be focused.
Because people come and say, I want to learn bioinformatics, I want to learn what do you want to learn, what do you want to apply bioinformatics to? So I think that's a challenge. Then people coming from there are people coming from computational background. They find it difficult to grab the basic molecular knowledge.
The biological
the biological side. And people coming from the biological side struggle with coding because, for instance, if you say you want to learn AI in genomics, you have to know how to write Python codes or R codes. And if you are not from computer background, they find it very difficult to adapt to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly. We are in the fourth industrial revolution.
Yeah.
So technology is going to continue to grow faster and faster.
Yeah.
And we are now surrounded by artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
What are your point of view on AI? Do you use AI a lot? I mean, what do you use AI specifically for in your work?
Yeah, I use AI a lot. In this world, I think everybody should use AI. That's my recommendation. But it is how you use AI that matters a lot.
Right.
Because personally, my supervisor, Dr. Edith Parker, she hates AI. I don't know why. But I believe there should be a responsible use of AI. And as a learner, you shouldn't start from using AI. You should start from learning the fundamentals, which is what we try to do. That if you want to, AI can help you save a lot of time in writing your codes. But can you read those codes? Can you know where things, the issues
with the logic?
Yeah, the logic you should be able to understand, because that's what I do. If if I generate a code, I like to see, is the code doing what I intend? Yes, because I can read and I can write it myself, but it saves me a lot of time trying to do that myself. So what I will advise people is that learn the fundamentals first, then the AI can be used to save all the mundane and boring stuff, and and can even fasten your deployment and or creation of anything you want to do. Thank you.
Okay, no, I think that's really good perspective that you have presented. I mean, you are, someone who's in this, so you will see firsthand, you shoulder to shoulder with these students, so their feedback to you is very important. We work with a lot of institutions like the Africa CDC, like FADE, which is like global network for setting standards. This ABR, Africa Bioinformatics Network. If you were to ask, someone like the Africa CDC for whatever skill gap that it is, what do you think is required right now, to increase capacity development to ensure that the next pandemic preparedness different countries in Africa is ready for?
Okay, I think one of the major things that I see, and that's where what we are trying to do is there is a major gap between the curriculum, especially in West Africa, what's been taught in our universities, and especially during with the life sciences. Like,
Right.
yeah, there is no. Uh, I don't know how to put it. I don't want to,
There's no structure.
yeah, there's no structure. There's no. They are not updating the curriculum to fit in the current reality of the technology
With
and
new tools,
with new tools and
new pipelines coming out.
pipelines
The
and
curriculum is 5-10 years old behind.
yes, 5-10 years old behind. So I think there is a need to restructure the curriculum in West African universities, especially public universities, so that it can reflect the reality. So that when students graduate, they have hands-on skill to up-to-date skills
Yeah.
that when they apply for jobs, when they even independent research or any career path they want to go, they are always equipped to say maybe they are in African CDC, they are well equipped to handle any thing that comes at that time.
No, I think you put it perfectly there. Like, there is this unknown in the future, right? You don't know what the next pandemic will be. Mpox, SARS-CoV-2. We need people to be up to date with their skill set. They can't be having skill set from textbook that's written 10 years ago, because that's not relevant today. AI came out, 2 years ago. There isn't textbooks that's writing 10 years ago about AI. So people need to stay relevant and be sort of up to date with current technology. Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense. I think as we come towards the end of this interview, I would like to ask you to probably give some advice to people in the field, or even young scientists that's coming into the field. You've been in this role for some time now. You have experienced training, you have to interact with people from different walks of life, data scientists, bioinformaticians. What advice would you give to the next group of young scientists?
Okay, well, first thing I would say is we have to continue learning. In this age, learning is progressive. You won't say, the bioinformatics, 5 years ago, it's not relevant. Though there are fundamentals that are basic, but it keeps evolving every day. So you have to keep learning, and also don't be overwhelmed by a lot of tools that are coming out. I was like, which one should I learn? So I'll advise that just learn progressively. Don't be overwhelmed by the little lots. I want to learn single cell. I want to learn the genomics. I want to learn everything together. So pick one field and keep on improving. Then maybe after you're good, you can say, okay, let me pick another one and
diversify after you become proficient in one specific area.
That's my advice.
Okay. No, I think that's really relevant. As you said, if people want to come to a bioinformatics training, there's no way you can teach all the knowledge, all the tools to someone immediately. You can give them some foundational, best practices. You can introduce them to SnakeMate, Python, and teach them some of the fundamentals. But it's up to that individual now to go back and use that skill set, learn continuously, whether it's watching online resources or getting access to other courses, and better themselves in that manner perspective. Okay. No, thank you very much for your time, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you.